starting to get the runs, actually.
What are you doing to me here, man? Jesus!
How often do you do this? Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to a very special episode of Questions, Wigs and Things. Your host James Farry, presented by Just Digital People. I've got the Lord Mayor of Melbourne, Nick Reece, with us today.
G'day, James.
Welcome.
Good to be with you.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried.
You worried?
About what I am in for here.
I've heard you've got spicy chops, so I'm expecting big things.
Look, I'm not scared of the spice, but this does look like quite a lineup, I've got to say.
As someone who's done it more than a handful, countless times before, I can tell you, it gets pretty tasty, you know, and not in a good way.
Am I going to be able to feel my mouth at the end of this?
No, and multiple other party body as well, but we won't get into that.
That's tomorrow, that's the problem, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So, as we all know, guys, the format is 5 questions, 5 incredibly spicy wings, or in this case, fillets of chicken. And we'll talk about your upbringing, your entrepreneurship, your business acumen, and we'll dive right into it. If you're happy.
Looking forward to it, I think.
Yes. So the first one, on brand, being the Mayor of Melbourne, Melbourne hot sauce, made right here in the best city in Australia. Tell you what I'll do, before I do that, I'll give it a good shake, you know, get the juices flowing. As I said to you, we'll pour for each other, so you can punish me as much as you want, depending on what comes out here.
But of course, if I pour too much, then it's coming right back at me. Okay.
Big time, yeah, big time. And you know, the idea is that it builds, it's supposed to build. I mean, actually, I've just done myself there. So you can get me in the next one. How about that? How about that? So it's a smoky Reaper barbecue.
Okay. Now the skull on the jar there, that shouldn't be worrying me in any way.
I mean, that one's got a nuclear logo. That's and the other 4 got skulls. So
Yes.
you know.
Let's
so,
do it.
Bottoms up.
Bottoms up.
Tasty. That's actually all right, yeah.
That's down.
It's great. Question number 1. Nick, as the Lord Mayor of Melbourne,
Milk.
Milk, yeah. The best city in Australia by a country mile. You know, the coolest city, hence why I live here. If you were to describe Melbourne with a USP or an elevator pitch, how would you describe it?
Well, it begins with the fact that Melbourne is the coolest city in the world. There is a vibe and an energy in this city which you don't get anywhere else. And, you know, what's behind that? There's not one single thing. I just think it's a whole bunch of things that come together. The first is Melbourne is a city with amazing bones. Like, it's got this hoddle grid that was laid out 170 years ago. It's this urban grid. And, you know, when they talk about cities, they talk about street corners as quite special places because that's where people meet.
Yeah.
And interactions and ideas spark on street corners where people have chance meetings. And so this city built on the grid is a city where people meet up and ideas fly. It's if the bones are really good. The second thing is the people, okay? So Melbourne is the most multicultural, most inclusive, most diverse city in the world, I would say. Just in this municipality of the inner city, there's 160 different cultural backgrounds. Over 55% of the people in this municipality were born overseas.
Wow.
Which is extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
It's just incredibly diverse. You're from Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'm from London. Like, everybody has come here from somewhere, it seems. And so there's just a real diversity and energy to the city as well. Yeah. The other thing I would say is Melburnians are people who turn up, right? Like, we love going out. People really live their lives out in the public realm, being out and about. You know, we're the only city in the world that's got a Grand Prix and a Grand Slam tennis tournament. But that's just like 2 things on the major events calendar. And that's before I get to Australian rules football, right?
Yeah,
which is
course,
just the AFL, our kind of unofficial city religion. So you put that all together with the universities, together with like this real preponderance of startup businesses, a lot of independent retailers and independent businesses in this city. and you've got a city that really is it's got a lot of spark to it, and a really, really amazing place.
I'm inspired. That's why I moved to Melbourne. In fairness, if you speak to the guys in my team, they always tell me I've got the maddest social calendar. They look at my social calendar, there's a gig every night.
Yeah.
I love the tennis, love the Formula One. So that's actually what kept me in Melbourne, to be honest, is just all the things you can do. And I'm a very social butterfly, so I love going to all these things, and I still do, even with a little baby now. So, you know, but that inspired me to get out more.
Sounds good. How old's the baby?
She is 18 months, so keeping me young-ish, you know. Yeah. Grey hair's coming in though.
Looking pretty solid to me there.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it a few years, Jay.
How did you find number one? Spicy?
I thought it was pretty good, actually. I felt, you know, maybe a low level of discomfort, but I'm going to say it was 90% good.
Yeah, it was tasty, wasn't it? So
Now, is this my turn now?
This is your turn, because I kind of jumped the gun, and you can punish me as much as you felt that you got punished.
Okay.
So this is apparently a 10 out of 10 on the heat scale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you your big nugget there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you go for it.
There we go.
Oh.
Have I ever done that?
No. That's fine then.
Okay. Over to you, sir.
Right, let's go. Let's get the party started.
That's
Check it out. There we go.
Okay.
Right.
Sort of feel like you got a lot of chicken and a lot of sauce. I've got a little bit of chicken and a lot of sauce.
So what I've learned is the larger the piece of chicken, the harder it is, because, you know, it's the chewing and yeah. So I've kind of kept it smaller, bigger, little bites, bigger punch, you know.
Oh, you're a strategic player. I can see that.
Cheers, bottoms up.
Trying to get that down fast.
Woo! Yeah. Tell you what, I'm not going to go for break. I'll jump straight into it. Question number 2. So Melbourne's got a reputation, as we all know, for creativity, innovation. So Melbourne as a city, what are you guys doing over the next kind of 5 years to really harness that creativity within the Melbourne tech and startup community?
So again, I think the fundamentals for tech and innovation are amazing in Melbourne. I spent a number of years of my career working at Melbourne University, so you know I've been under the hood, if you like, in the university sector. It's amazing. Okay, so you know Melbourne has 2 universities. Heat is coming through.
It's getting me now. Woo! I can feel it building.
So Melbourne has got 2 universities in the global top 50, Melbourne University and Monash University. To put that in perspective, you know, Japan has got 1 university in the global top 50.
Right, yeah.
France has got 1 university in the global top 50. Melbourne has 2. And so there's an innovation ecosystem around those universities that is really extraordinary. It goes to things like medical research institutes like the Doherty Institute, the Burnett, the WeHi. There's an extraordinary cluster of research institutes that are connected there to the universities. You've also got a really strong pipeline of startup businesses that have gone on to become unicorns, whether that's, you know, Seek or even a company like CSL. You know, think about CSL. It's on some weeks of the year, it's the biggest company in Australia. It is completely built off the back of Melbourne innovation and medical R&D.
Yep.
It's almost the perfect example of a matchup between the corporate sector and the university sector to build Australia's biggest, most successful company. So I think there's some really good fundamentals there. I think at a more the street level, City of Melbourne, we are strong supporters of innovation. We have hackathons. We run a lot of city challenge contests where we try and, you know, get people in to help solve challenges that the city's facing. We also run a number of programs which are really focused on student entrepreneurs, and in particular, they seem to be very popular with the international students. So remember, Melbourne is one of the great student cities of the world. We have over 100,000 students studying here in the city, and you know they're young people, a lot of get up and go and energy coming from all over the world. And so when a lot of them really lean in around that sort of innovation startup economy, and so at the City of Melbourne, we try and tap into that and run competitions and support programs to try and really stimulate that startup sector with a particular focus around our student community.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I was at a tech meetup event last night, actually. I was meeting a lot of different students who have just either graduating or coming out of university, looking to see how they break into that tech world, start becoming software engineers in Melbourne. It was great to see a mix of international and local students as well. So yeah, and you mentioned Seek. James Ross, actually the CTO of Seek, was our last guest.
Hey.
He handled the heat incredibly well.
Did he? I'm sure he would. I mean, talk about those international students, and I don't know if you've seen that musical Hamilton.
Yeah.
There's that great line, if you want to get a job done, ask an immigrant. And there's a bit of that, there's a bit of truth to that. What do they say? 50% of all the kind of unicorns that have come out of Silicon Valley have had an immigrant to the US as one of the founders. And I'm sure the statistics look probably pretty similar here in Melbourne as well. Yeah. So again, that huge international student population that we've got is, I think, a great feeder for our tech community and our startup community.
Yeah, nice.
And in my perfect Melbourne, those international students stay here and build a life, business for themselves here in this city. Yeah,
for sure. And I tell you what, you handled that incredibly well. Did you feel it building? Because I certainly did.
It's still tingling, and we're not even halfway.
Yeah, we're not even halfway yet. We've got the Da Bomb next, and if you've ever seen, obviously, a show called Hot Ones over in the US, this is on that, as are the next three. So, this is where it really starts.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the runs, actually.
Same. Well, there's tissues. If you ever need a dab, you can dab.
Okay.
Right. It's my turn.
It's back to you, I believe.
Right. So, question number 3 with Da Bomb.
Da Bomb. I'm getting worried here.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. You do yourself. You know, as long as you keep it even.
Yeah, keep it even. You keep it even.
You're doing pretty heavy there.
There we go. I've actually punished myself more, I think, but I deserve that. Right. Bottoms up. Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Not too bad. I spoke too soon. Oh my God. Right. Question number 3, if I can get it out. You've talked a lot about startups. So I'm keen to understand.
What are you doing to me here, man? Jesus. That's called Da Bomb.
Yeah.
That has got a radiation sign on the front there.
I think I'm good. I'm glowing like I've got radiation as well.
You know what its tagline is? Beyond insanity.
Yeah. I think.
What are you doing to me here, man?
I think we're both beyond insane for sitting here. Right. If we can get this out. Question number 3. We talked about startups, the business community. So I'd love to know in a bit more detail about the work you're doing, or the work you have done with startups and community businesses. If that question made any sense at all.
What have I done with what?
What have you done within the startup community? What involvement have you had within businesses? I know a few, obviously, off the top of my head, but I'd love to understand your role in some of those.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm happy to talk to that if I can actually just think straight here.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna
get as much milk as you want. The beauty of it is that it gets your creative thinking flowing, you know?
I've got a few engagements on this afternoon. I really do hope I come right after this.
You'll be fine. They'll be like, you look a bit red. Do you want to sort you right now? A donut and a banana.
They're the trick, are they?
Yeah. Something sweet. Potassium apparently. I don't know, Gordon Ramsay once said that, so.
Okay.
I'm actually crying. You can see the tears.
How often do you do this?
Every month, usually. Or it hasn't been for a little while. 2 months since the last one.
Okay.
So, yeah, maybe I am beyond insane.
Okay. Where were we?
We're going to talk about the work you've done within startups and bringing, I suppose, your entrepreneurship to light. That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay. So I have been involved in a couple of startups over the course of my career. Some have bombed, some have done pretty well. So look, I was involved in the very early days of a thing called The Big Issue, which we actually brought to Australia from the UK. I was one of the founding directors, and it's such a basic idea. The Big Issue is sold by homeless and vulnerable people on the streets of our cities.
Yep.
The vendors, they get to keep half the cover price. The other half goes to cost of the magazine and the journalism that goes behind it, which is damn fine journalism. It's a good read, The Big Issue. Very simple idea. It's been very successful. You know, on any week here in Australia, around our cities, it's up to 400 people selling The Big Issue, making a decent income for themselves. And I love the philosophy behind The Big Issue. It's a hand up, not a handout. You know, it takes homeless and vulnerable people and turns them into small business people. It also has done a great job, I think, in putting a face to homelessness in this country. You know, when I was a kid growing up, the homeless guy was that man sleeping under the bridge or on the park bench, and he was the other, and we turned our backs on those people. Now, a homeless person is that Big Issue vendor with a big smile who's trying to get a bit of business from you by selling you a copy of The Big Issue. And they have different pictures around the city, a part of a street corner that they are responsible for, and they grow their business. And so it's put a friendly face, a familiar face to homelessness in this country, and I hope has helped to change people's perceptions about homelessness and realise these are real people. And you know what? They're good people as well.
Yeah.
Another one I've been involved in, this is the biggest success story of certainly my working life, is Movember. So started by two mates of mine, Luke and Trav, having a beer on Brunswick Street in Fitzroy going, how do we bring back the mustache?
Yeah.
Our dads had mows, whatever happened to the mustache? And so they reached out to some of their mates, I was one of them, saying, hey, we're gonna grow mows and we're gonna have a party. And you know, we're all kind of living in share houses in Fitzroy back in the day. Fast forward 21 years, and again, that really simple idea, the genius of the simple idea, turning your face into a billboard for men's health for a month by growing a mow. Almost the sillier, the better.
Yeah.
Having a laugh at yourself, having fun, and doing good. And so from those humble, hairy beginnings, Movember has grown from, it's running in 20 countries around the world. We've now raised close to $1.5 billion globally, probably the most successful charity to come out of Australia. I think the first charity unicorn to come out of Australia. But more importantly than those sort of headline numbers on the charity is what we've achieved. So when we started Movember, the prostate cancer survival rate in Australia was 68%. It's now 98%.
Wow.
Like that's the survival rate for prostate cancer now. That's millions of men living happier and healthier, longer lives across the world.
Yeah.
And on the men's suicide and mental health, I mean, that's harder to measure, I think it has to be said, James, but I do think men are much more prepared these days to open up about what they're going through, have the powerful conversations that sometimes need to be had about how you're doing. And if you're not right, like talk about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think back to those mates of mine, Cam and Damo, and I do think that if we were young guys in our 20s again, that they would be much more willing to have those tough conversations.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of fun with Movember, done a lot of good as well. And yeah, it's been an amazing startup story out of Australia.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows about it. I'm sure Cam and Davo will be extremely proud as well. I've participated most years. I don't let it mess with the bottom of the beard, which leads me to probably a good question. What is the purest way to do Movember? Do you have to clean shave and then grow it back? Or can you clean shave and just keep the mo?
Well, I'm glad you've asked, James, because in recent years we've had to introduce a new rule which says you must start the month clean shaven.
Right. Okay.
Of course, when we started Movember, men's facial hair had been out of fashion for decades. Now it has come back into fashion. Look at us, right?
Yeah,
You far more impressive than me, it must be said. And so now we say you start clean shaven.
Right.
Of course, that's just another excuse to get together with your mates,
Yeah.
have the shave down, and celebrate the start of November, which is it. It's a month-long time of year where you can have some fun and do some good.
Yeah. I think I met Trav years ago in the Corner Hotel.
Trav Garoni, yeah,
Yes.
brilliant guy.
And I'm pretty sure he runs one of my favourite accounts on Instagram, Beer of the Day.
Yes.
And it's a delightful Instagram. You just look at delicious beers all day. So
It's
I'm
quite
into
a
it.
thing. Yeah, so Trav Garoni and Luke Slattery,
Yeah.
two of the nicest guys I'll ever meet, creative geniuses, having a beer one
Yeah.
afternoon going, how do we bring back the mustache?
What a story.
An amazing story.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's fantastic.
And hey, I feel honoured. I've been there from the beginning with those guys. It's been a wild and hairy ride, I've got to tell
Yeah, yeah. I love the word hairy. Wild and hairy ride. Love that. How did you find the bomb?
The bomb was, as it says on the label, beyond insanity. But I've recovered surprisingly well.
I
I've
have
got to say.
recovered, yeah. I have. I might need to get my little help out some more milk at some point, but are we ready for number 4?
Yeah, it's back to me. Now, this is called Megadeth
Yeah.
with Liquid Rage.
Oh, tell you what.
Sounds quite mild.
So for the next, for the final 2 questions, we'll probably do a bit more of a fun take, you know? Because, you know, get the brain
Okay.
less switched on.
Okay.
Hit me up.
Here we go. I'll do me as well. I'll be fair.
I get that right on there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, lordy. Oh, lordy.
Nick. Now that's self-sabotage if I've ever seen it.
Oh, what have I done?
RIP to your event this afternoon.
Oh, I'm trying to... Okay, bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Down. 1 to go.
That was okay.
It's not bad, is it?
I think that wasn't quite the Liquid Rage I was expecting.
I think because we're already up here from the bomb.
The bomb.
Yeah, I think that takes it to another level.
Hold on. There's an afterburn coming there. I also had the sauce on the top, nothing on the bottom.
Yeah.
So I sort of managed it through my mouth
okay.
and down the throat as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So
Good to
I'm
know.
getting a little bit of strategy going with my consumption of the chili and the chicken now.
Well, with question 4, we'll keep it light. We'll keep it playful.
Okay.
Right? So, as the Mayor of Melbourne, if you were to create a law that all Melburnians would have to abide to, what would that be and why?
Okay. No person can finish a transport trip in this city without a wave or a g'day to someone. So if you're on the tram, before you get off that tram, you got to look at someone and say, hey, g'day. Or if you're in the car, just hey, how are you? Just to say, you know, you have a good day.
Yeah.
Or if you're on your bike, same thing, just unprompted, an act of spontaneous, random friendliness.
Yeah.
Just to spread the good love in this town. And if people weren't going to go for that, I'd introduce a new bylaw that says you have to walk on the left-hand side of the footpath. So that you no longer have that situation where you're walking on a busy footpath and people are coming on the right and the left. It's like stick to the left and we will all get through this footpath journey much more efficiently.
You start dancing with strangers a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine would be every tram driver has to be the happiest tram driver in Melbourne.
Bruce Wally.
Bruce Weller, he's on my line and I get him fairly often and he just makes my day. Earphones out, listen, and just laugh. What a legend.
He is a legend, Bruce Wally. He's a good mate of mine as
Is he?
well.
Yeah.
He's a Movember ambassador.
Yeah.
He's got an incredible story about his prostate cancer survival. And he changed his life after that. You should get him on to the chili, hot chili show.
I will do. I'll give him next time I'm on this tram, I'll knock on his window and say, do you want to come eat some hot sauce?
He worked in finance.
Yep.
He got prostate cancer. He's a survivor. It changed his life. He left the world of finance to become a tram driver. He's now the world's funniest tram driver, with those great stories that he tells as he compares his tram trips. He's also got involved in all these other things, like he was involved in a world record attempt for high-speed motorcycle riding out in one of those flat deserts in the middle of Australia. Yeah,
What a legend.
He's an
Unbelievable.
absolute legend.
Yeah.
He's an absolute legend, a Melbourne icon.
Yeah, there we go. We should build a statue. That should be on the agenda.
Well, I'm in the statues business. That's one of the things we do at Town Hall.
How did you find that one? Not as bad from my
No,
side.
I got through that one well, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like after the bomb, I
Yeah.
can do anything.
So we'll change it up a bit for question 5. We'll tank a lot of that, and then we'll do a quick fire
Okay.
question.
Yep.
How'd you like that idea?
Sounds good. Sounds exciting.
Whose turn is it?
I think it's back to you, my
Back
friend.
to me, right. Let's go. So I'll do you first. We may as well just go for it. Why not? Give the people what they want.
What have we got here, sir?
Ultra death sauce with Jersey fire. I mean, it just sounds just as intense, you know?
With a name like Ultra Death, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you know what you're in for. We can't say we weren't warned.
Right, bottoms
Okay.
up.
Bottoms up, James.
Right. We're there. We've made it. Right, quick fire. If you were to swap jobs with someone for a day, whether it be a CEO, barista, rock star, who would it be and why?
Wow. Look, I think Lewis Hamilton jumping back in the Ferrari for the 25 F1 season. That would be a pretty cool thing to do for a day. I do love the F1 racing. There's something about the glamour and the glitz of international, Formula One. And, Lewis Hamilton's obviously one of the greats of F1 history. And he's going to be back in a Ferrari. He's going to be in a Ferrari next year.
Can't wait.
And the Team Ferrari are going to step it up for that. So there you go. Their first race of 2025. It's going to be back in Melbourne. 75th anniversary of Formula One.
Oofed.
And Lewis Hamilton on the front grid. And me
Ferrari.
being in that job for the day. That would be amazing.
That would be unbelievable. Reminds me, I need to get some tickets for that. Number 2, obviously you're enjoying some spicy sauces with me today. But when you go home, or let's say your deathbed meal, what would that be? What's your ultimate comfort food?
I would say it would be a beautiful bowl of ramen. Love the ramen with the chili bomb in it, actually.
Yeah. Lovely.
A finely brewed ramen is a wonder.
Yeah.
It's comfort food plus an exotic meal. It's amazing.
Are you allowed to admit where your favourite spot is?
Look, I probably need to be careful there, actually. Probably need to be careful on that one. We've got a lot of really great ramen shops in this town.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
So the guys at GDP, we love heading out for a ramen lunch. Absolutely love it. So I've got a selection of favourites as well. And then obviously Melbourne being the home of coffee. What is your order?
Look, I go for the Melbourne Magic.
What is that?
Double Restrada with just a small head of milk.
Okay.
It's good. You get the best part of the coffee shot and just a small amount of milk just to smooth it out. Not a milkshake, just to smooth it out. And I'm told folklore has it that it was designed, conceived of right here in Melbourne. In fact, if you go to Marks and Spencer's in London, they now serve the Melbourne Magic.
Do they?
Yeah.
There we go. I'll have to take a trip there when I'm back. And final question, certainly not the lightest one. If you would have to choose from Collingwood beating Carlton in the grand final by a single point, or having to move to Sydney, what would you choose?
Wow. Okay. That's a really hard one. You're trying to get me to choose the least worst option there. I'm obviously a very passionate Blues supporter, and therefore I hate Collingwood. Look, I think I would take Collingwood to beating the Blues rather than being forced to live in Sydney. So that would be the cool. No, I would. I love Sydney, so I'll take the Sydney option.
Okay.
There you go.
We've got a couple of Collingwood fans behind you in the office.
Okay. Well, I've got a little bit of the bomb for those boys.
Exactly. Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thanks very much for joining me. Did you have fun?
I did. I loved it. And I don't know how I'll feel tomorrow morning.
Yep.
But right now, it's been a real pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh my God, you can hear my throat. Thanks for tuning in, guys. What an episode.